Everything you missed begins not with rumor but with clear, documented facts. For years, the story of Jeffrey Epstein was a complex web: wealth, power, dark allegations, operating just beneath the surface of public awareness. The recent unsealing of court documents, often collectively called the Epstein files, has brought many shocking details into the light. These are not random papers. They are sworn depositions, flight logs, and personal accounts that form a critical part of the public record. They matter because they provide a factual basis for understanding a case that challenges our justice system. They give voice to survivors whose claims were ignored for too long and force a difficult conversation about how power manipulates legal outcomes. The core public facts are stark. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender. He was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges in 2019. His associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was convicted of sex trafficking and sentenced to federal prison. The unsealed files add crucial context, detailing the mechanics of a sophisticated operation that allegedly targeted and groomed vulnerable young women and girls. Understanding these files is not about speculation. It is about examining evidence presented in court and piecing together a timeline of events. They offer a rare glimpse into a world kept hidden through legal maneuvering, secret settlements, and intimidation. The files force institutions, from law enforcement to the courts, to confront past failures that allowed abuse to continue for decades. They testify to the persistence of survivors and the journalists who fought to bring their stories to light. We will examine Epstein's criminal timeline, the controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement, his 2019 arrest, and the official findings regarding his death. We'll walk through unsealed files, victims' civil suits, and the landmark conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell. Finally, we'll look at ongoing investigations, calls for transparency, and the enduring quest for justice. The story is not simple, but the facts provide a clear path through the noise. This is important. Jeffrey Epstein's public life began far from global power. As a New York private school teacher, despite lacking a college degree, he transitioned into finance, joining Bear Stearns in the late 1970s, building connections and wealth. After leaving the bank, he founded J. Epstein & Co., a small, exclusive client list, shrouded in secrecy. His assets included multiple estates and a private Caribbean island, insulated environments staffed by employees and serviced by private aircraft, including a Boeing 727 noted in court records. Over the years, reports surfaced that young women were recruited to his homes for massages that led to sexual abuse, some alleging they were minors. These accounts led to Florida investigations in the mid-2000s, describing systematic recruitment, often using other young women paid to bring friends. Epstein cultivated connections in science, politics, business, and royalty, a public image that shielded him with credibility. By 2008, federal investigators had built what they called a strong case involving dozens of potential victims. The FBI prepared a 53-page indictment that could have led to trafficking charges and a potential life sentence, but it was never filed. A controversial non-prosecution agreement was struck between Epstein's legal team and the U.S. Attorney's Office, led by Alexander Acosta. Epstein pled to two lesser state charges, one involving a minor, received a lenient sentence, and the NPA extended immunity to named and potential co-conspirators. He served about 13 months of an 18-month sentence, with unusual work release up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. The deal was concealed from victims, violating the Crime Victims' Rights Act and denying them a chance to be heard. For a decade, the 2008 deal symbolized a two-tiered system favoring the wealthy and connected. In 2018, the Miami Herald exposed the scandal in depth. In 2019, a judge ruled prosecutors broke the law by concealing the deal. Public pressure and legal findings reignited the case, setting the stage for Epstein's second arrest. On July 6, 2019, Epstein was arrested at Teterboro after returning from Paris on his private jet. SDNY charged him with sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy, focused on 2002-2005 conduct in New York and Florida. The 2019 indictment answered past failures, built on renewed investigation, fresh survivor statements, and public outcry. Held without bail, Epstein was deemed a flight risk and potential obstruction threat given his wealth and connections. Beginning in 2019 and continuing into early 2024, courts unsealed thousands of pages tied to a 2015 civil defamation suit by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. Depositions, emails, flight logs, and witness statements became a treasure trove of information. Women described being recruited as teenagers, the abuse they endured, and methods used to control and silence them. In depositions, Epstein and Maxwell repeatedly invoked the fifth. In one, Epstein did so more than 500 times. The files mentioned many high-profile individuals. Address books, calendars, and flight logs documented associations, not automatic wrongdoing. A name's presence in files isn't proof of criminal conduct. Some were contacts, some legitimate passengers. Others appeared in allegations requiring further investigation. Staff described day-to-day operations, scheduling massages, coordinating payments, arranging travel and meetings. The files also showed aggressive legal tactics to keep information sealed and discredit accusers. Unsealed documents moved parts of the story from allegation to documented evidence, providing foundation for criminal cases and confirming core survivor claims. On August 10, 2019, Epstein was found dead at MCC, New York, ending the prospect of a criminal trial. The NYC medical examiner ruled his death a suicide by hanging. He'd been on suicide watch weeks earlier, was taken off heightened monitoring, housed alone against protocol, with guards failing required checks and falsifying records. Malfunctioning cameras fueled theories, yet officials presented no evidence of homicide. DOJ investigated. 2 guards were charged for false records and later accepted plea deals without prison time. The death became a symbol of BOP dysfunction. For survivors, it spared a traumatic trial but denied a public reckoning. Epstein's case was dismissed upon death, but pursuit of alleged co-conspirators was only beginning. On July 2, 2020, Maxwell was arrested and charged with enticement, sex trafficking of children, and perjury. Prosecutors alleged Maxwell was chief recruiter and groomer, leveraging social status to win trust of vulnerable girls and parents. In late 2021, a federal jury heard testimony from 4 women detailing how Maxwell befriended them as teens and funneled them into abuse. The defense cast her as a scapegoat. On Dec 29, 2021, the jury found Maxwell guilty on 5 of 6 counts, including sex trafficking of a minor. In June 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years. Victims delivered powerful statements about lasting harm. Long before 2019, survivors pursued civil suits. After Epstein's death, a compensation fund paid out over $125 million to more than 150 claimants. Civil discovery, depositions, and documents created much of the record that later became the public Epstein files. Accounts were strikingly consistent. Economic vulnerability, peer recruitment, massage pretexts, escalating abuse, bonuses to bring more teens. After Epstein's death, women addressed the court, shifting focus from a powerful perpetrator to resilient survivors. Major questions remain about the full extent of Epstein's network: facilitators, participants, and those who knowingly looked away. Authorities, including in the U.S. Virgin Islands, continue probing financial and logistical enablers. Survivors' civil cases against alleged associates and institutions continue, seeking broader accountability. A DOJ review faulted prosecutors' judgment in 2008 but recommended no discipline, fueling calls for oversight of prosecutorial discretion. Failures at MCC spurred demands for sweeping BOP reforms to protect high-risk inmates and preserve evidence integrity. The facts are clear. Epstein, a convicted sex offender, died by suicide after a second arrest. Maxwell is serving 20 years. Unsealed files map their operation. The case shows how wealth, power, and secrecy can weaponize harm, and how survivor courage and free press can force sunlight. Our collective responsibility: support healing, push for answers where questions linger, and demand a justice system that protects the vulnerable. The files are open. What you missed are the facts hiding in plain sight. and the work to ensure it never happens again. If this helped you see beyond the headlines, stay with us as we continue tracking verified developments, not rumors. Everything you missed, now in the record.